Today we will be making the chubby chick, which I made mine a little grumpy one. I'm going to take you through each step. I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, even if you're a beginner. And we are going to make this fun little chick together. I'm so glad you're here on this crochet tutorial. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have as much fun making this as I did. So for today's pattern, we are going to be using size 4 yarn. This is from Red Heart. It's their plain acrylic. It's my favorite to use. I'm going to be using this bright, cheerful, orangish yellow, this black, and this brown, as well as some polyfill. I will be using about this much polyfill. For today, I'm going to be using my 3.5 millimeter. Don't look at it too closely. It has had a hard life. For starters, we are going to do a magic circle with 8. So we're going to take, this is how I do a magic circle. This is the end, run it over this finger, and then I have these 2 fingers that I do 1, 2, and then this finger kind of holds that in place. To make the first part of the magic circle, we come in, we grab this, pull it under, and grab it again. Pull it through, and this does not count as the first stitch on the magic circle. We're going to go under both, grab, pull down. Now they're on the same height. Grab and pull through. That is 1, and I'm going to do it 7 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if we look at our magic circle, which this is our magic circle, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stitches. Now, we're going to kind of spread it out like this, and you're going to see these 2 loop strings. Pull gently on the string until it begins to tighten. And that's about as tight as it's going to get. So now that that is as tight as it's going to get, grab this tail and pull. Now you have your magic circle. So this entire thing is going to be row 1. In row 2, we're going to put an increase in each one of these 8 stitches. And an increase is where you do 2 single crochets per stitch. So if we have 8 here, we're going to end with 16. So we're going to push it through, and it's going to look like that. And for a single crochet, we're going to just grab the string and pull it through. See how they're next to each other? Pull this over and pull it through. That is 1. And we're going to do that again. And that is 2. So I'm going to repeat that through each 8. And I find it easy to count all the way to 16 to keep track. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, As the pattern progresses, it will be easiest if you use a stitch marker, just in case you ever lose count and need to know where your end is. It's always a good idea to, at the end of every row, to recount and make sure all your stitches are there. So for this, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now for row 3, we are going to do a single crochet followed by an increase all the way around. So what that's really going to look like is, in this first stitch, we are going to do 1 singular crochet. In this second stitch, we are going to do 2 crochet. So 1, 2, just like we did in the last row. Now we are going to repeat that sequence again. So 1 in here, 2 in here, 1 in here, 2 in here, all the way around. For this, now that we're in the final stitch, we're going to carefully remove our stitch marker, but not lose our place. So we need to put our 2 stitches in this final stitch. And now we are going to replace it in this stitch right here, which is the last stitch of row 3. Row 3 should be completed at 24 stitches, so let's count and make sure we have 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Row 4 is going to be so easy. We're going to put a single crochet in each one of these 24 stitches. It's going to go pretty fast and it's going to be pretty easy. So here's our first stitch and we're just going to put 1 singular crochet. Here's our second stitch and we're just going to put 1 singular crochet. On and on we'll do that until we get all the way around. that concludes our 4th row. So just to show you how to count rows again, each circle is a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is 24 stitches. For our 5th row, we are going to single crochet 2, increase, and that's going to be duplicated 8 times. So basically what that means is in the first 2 crochet stitches, we're going to single crochet. In the 3rd stitch, we are going to do an increase, and that is going to be a repeated sequence 8 times. So I'll do the first sequence with you. 1 single crochet in the 1st stitch, 1 single crochet in the 2nd stitch, double crochet in the 3rd stitch. So back into that same stitch for a 2nd crochet. I'm going to repeat that 7 more times all the way around. The combination of that sequence should bring us to 32 stitches. So let's go ahead and count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Perfect. So now we can move on to row 6, and row 6 is just going to be single crochets. We are going to be doing just 32 stitches. Again, this should run through very fast. I'll do the first couple. So 1 stitch in 1 stitch, 1 stitch in 1 stitch, and we're going to finish that all the way around. That concludes row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to move on to row 7, which is exactly the same thing. We're going to do 32 stitches all around. don't mind that I'm playing yarn chicken. This is not ideal, but this is what happens when your puppy gets a hold of your yarn and turns it into this horrible knot. Okay, so that concludes row 7, and it's starting to curve, but this is going to be the exterior. This bizarre little thing with a little tail is the inside. So we're going to start training the shape. It needs to start looking like this with the butt and the tail on the inside. We are on row 8 now, and this one is really tricky, so be sure to pay attention. It's multiple steps, so I'm just going to take it one step at a time. Our first set of steps is we are going to crochet 8. So we're going to go single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and on until we hit 8. So I'm just going to do it all with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, our next step is to chain 3. So, not doing another thing, we're just gonna jump immediately into a chain 3. And how you chain is you wrap your hook around and pull it into the stitch you just made. Wrap your hook around, so that's 2, and this makes 3, okay? So that's chaining 3. Now we are going to single crochet 2. How do we do that? Well, if you look here, we have 1, 2, 3 chains. We're gonna skip this chain and we're gonna jump into this one, and we're gonna put a single crochet right there. So wrap it in, pull through. Okay, now we need to do one more crochet, so we're going to put it right here. Okay, so now we have put 2 single crochets in our chain of 3. Next is going to come a slip stitch, and where is that slip stitch going to go? It is going to go back into the original stitch. So this is single crochet number 8. We need to go back into single crochet number 8. So we are going to take up as little real estate in this stitch as possible with the slip stitch. And how to do that is we're going to insert into the original stitch 8, grab our yarn, pull it through, and instead of wrapping the yarn around like we would a normal single crochet, we're just going to grab that new loop we made and pull it through the old loop. And that is a single crochet, or excuse me, and that is a slip stitch. So then from here, we are going to single crochet 16. So if this was stitch 8, we need to go into 9 and then go around 16 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We are currently done with our 16 single crochets. We are going to do that entire sequence that we did here all over again. So, not doing anything else, we're going to just jump straight into the chain 3s. So, wrap around the string and pull it through your loop. Wrap around your string, pull it through your loop. Wrap around your string, pull it through your loop. Okay, There we have our 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to single crochet 2. So 1, 2, and we are also going to slip stitch back into that 16th stitch. Well, it's not the 16th from the beginning, but it's the 16th from when we did the last wing, because this is what we're working on. These are the wings. So grab, make a loop, and then pull the new loop through the old loop to complete the slip stitch, okay? Now, to conclude this row, we are just going to single crochet another 8. So, like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, even with adding these little wings, you are going to still have only 32 stitches because these don't count as a stitch. What counts as the stitch is the 1 stitch that all of this fancy work went into. And to explain that, I'm going to show you by doing the next row, which is just a single crochet. And so that means that we are going to put 32 single crochets on this row. So I'm going to do a speed run until I get to the wing and I'll show you. Okay, this is the 8th stitch. So we're going to go ahead and single crochet in that. Now remember, all of this is based out of that 8th stitch right there. You can see it has a kind of a bigger hole. So that means to then crochet into the 9th hole, we are going to go right to this one. Do you see? It's kind of a little hard to see. So we're gonna go here. And when we make this loop, we're gonna pull it long, tuck the wing behind. Oh, and then we're gonna grab our string and tighten it. And it's going to pop the wing out. And now we're going to go around. Okay, so remember how we did 16 single crochets after we made the wing? This would be the 16th crochet. So we're gonna put that in there. And then going to the other side of the wing, we find the next stitch after we slip stitched back in. So we're gonna put our hook in that one, make the loop, make it long, tuck the wing behind, and cinch. And then we're going to do our final single 8 crochet. And that ends the 9th row. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Before we move into our next row, which is row 10, and another just set of singular crochets, I'm going to go ahead and count with you to ensure that we still have our 32 stitches despite all the funny business around this. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. So we did, even though I kind of messed up my counting there, I had already counted before I just did it, so you can count yours again. But yeah, that is the full 32 stitches. So we are going to do an entire row of another 32 stitches. It's going to be really easy because there's no trickiness. We are working with just plain stitches now. So we're going to do 32 single crochet. So that concluded row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to move on to row 11, which is just the exact same thing. I'm not going to film that because I think at this point we have a pretty good understanding. So when I come back, we are going to be done with row 11 and we're going to be ready for row 12. Okay, so I just finished row 11, another 32 single crochet. Now we're getting into row 12, and this is my least favorite part of any project. It's time to decrease. So when you do a decrease, you're going to have a stitch. And instead of putting a single crochet in it or 2 crochets like we've done, you are going to go into your first stitch, pull a loop, go into the next stitch, pull a loop in that one as well, and then you're going to grab your string and pull it through all 3 loops and cinch it tight. So now we have just combined 2 crochet stitches into 1 crochet stitches, hence the decrease. So this is a very aggressive decrease, and that means that this is going to be very fiddly. That more aggressive your decreases are, the tighter the project gets around the decrease. So you'll see that here in a second. We are going to decrease all the way around the project, so by the time that we are back at our stitch marker, we should have dropped from 32 stitches to 16. Okay, so that was the end of row 12. You see how it's getting so tight? I don't know if you saw that, I was kind of struggling. My fingers do not enjoy the process of decreasing. And if you notice, we have a totally different looking stitch. A decrease stitch looks different from just a single crochet stitch, which looks different from when you're doing increases. We're going to go around one more time and decrease in every stitch. So we're going to be dropping from 16 stitches to 8. Like I said, this is a very, very dramatic decrease. Okay, so at this point, I'm not even going to put the stitch marker back in because we are working with such a teeny little hole. Now it's time to do the polyfill. So at this point, we grab our polyfill, and I'm going to go ahead and do this part too, because from here, we're going to go ahead and tie it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop into the next stitch, grab the string, kind of hang it onto it right there. I'm going to get a pair of scissors. I'm gonna leave enough of a tail to tie off, cut, and then you see how we have what could become a single crochet. I'm actually just going to turn it into that. I think that looks quite good. Okay, so we're working with a pretty small hole, so you have to be dexterous. And the reason it's all collapsing right here is because it's a very extreme decrease. So we need to fill in all these little gaps with polyfill. All right, so he's nice and stuffed. Now what we're gonna do is go ahead and tie off. So we don't have any more loops. We are going to get our embroidery needle. I like to use the biggest needle possible. Let's get the polyfill out of here. So just thread your yarn onto the embroidery needle. And I use my nail to prevent any stuffing from coming up, but I'm gonna skip every other stitch. So we're going to pull on that. Okay, and we're going to go into this one. And then we're going to go into this one. We're going to pull on it as we go. Now it's going to form some gaps, but I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. And we're going to just go here. Now I'm going to pull through to this side because I see some gaps and I don't like the gaps. The gaps make me feel like it's not gonna look that great. So I'm going to just kind of tastefully and carefully do some stitching to fill in any empty spots. We don't want to see the polyfill because that just kind of ruins the look of the bottom. Okay, so as you can see, it looks a lot more tidy. Now we are going to just launch our end string just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And we're gonna trim it right here. Okay. And then I use the tip of my scissors to tuck it in. Okay, see? It's time to move on to adding the feet. So we are gonna grab our brown, and I'm gonna pull enough out that I won't have to keep messing with my ball. So we're gonna call this the front, even though he's equal parts. So it's equal here to here. I'm just gonna call this the front. Looking down here, we can kind of see the edge of the decreases. This is where the decreases began. So I don't want the feet to be any lower than about here. So in order to make it look nice, I'm going to insert my hook at the top of the decrease and have it popping out right here. So I'll show you what that means. And then I think for my second foot, to make it look fairly even, I'm gonna insert it probably here and come out this one. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna insert my hook here and come out here, right? Now I'm going to take my string and I'm going to just hook it on there. I don't know if you can see, all right? This finger is gonna hold, this is the tail, so this finger is gonna hold the tail, this finger is gonna hold the excess. I'm gonna pull it through, and I'm going to single crochet one, okay? Now, going back into that exact same stitch and hole, I'm going to grab more string, pull it through that hole. It gets a little tricky because it's tight. It's very tight. It doesn't want to have a hole. And I'm going to do another single crochet. Okay. You're going to go back in the hole. You do a third single crochet. Okay. And then we're going to stop. I'm going to take my scissors, cut, and then I'm going to wrap it around my hook and tie it off, okay? Now, we're not going to do anything with that just yet, okay? But it's going to look like this. Almost as making like a triangle shape. I'm going to move on to my second foot. So in order to make him symmetrical, I'm going to insert it here and come out here. And again, I'm going to drape it. This finger is going to hold the tail. This finger is going to hold the excess. Pull through, single crochet one, push through. See, it's so fiddly. Single crochet two in the same hole, and then push through, single crochet one more time, set it down, trim the excess, hook onto the string, pull it through. Okay, so now we have two little triangle shapes. Grab your embroidery needle. Now I have my embroidery needle. I'm going to start over here with this one. So this string is going to be embroidered by taking it, wrapping it under, and that is our insertion point. So we're just going to insert the hook, the needle into the insertion point, and we're just going to pull it through very gently, not too tight, and it's going to tuck alongside right there, okay? Here is where we tied off. This is going to be inserted at the top of the foot in the insertion hole. So we're gonna go here, and I'm going to make sure that this needle comes out in the exact same hole as this piece of string. Again, I'm gonna pull very gently because I want to be able to guide how the string lays on the foot. So we want to pull the tail in first, and then we want to make sure, see how it's laying next to the feet? Just like that. So then to secure secure it, we're gonna tie it off. I did just a singular knot. I'm going to trim. I'm gonna leave excess though. And I'm going to tuck it in. And see, even the knot tucked into that stitch. And I'm just gonna kind of give it a wiggle. I'm gonna repeat those steps with this foot. So this is the original string, the tail. I'm going to put that on my embroidery hook. And remember, it's going into the bottom insertion point. So there, pull it through to just some random spot. But we're gonna be careful because we want the toe to lay next to the foot. So pull just like that. And then we're gonna grab this one. Then we insert to the top. So right there. Oop. So right there. And then we're gonna angle our needle to come out in the exact same hole. Okay, now this one's really trying to tighten quickly, so I'm gonna do what I can to minimize how tight it gets. Oh, there we go. There's the side to the tail, so pull that through. See, it's tightened the foot a little too tight. I don't want it to be that small, so I'm gonna go in there, loosen it up a little. Okay, now his feet are symmetrical, can you see? And we're gonna repeat tying off just a singular knot. Trim. Tuck into the body. Wiggle it around. Okay, perfect. Now, using this exact same brown string, we're gonna cut just another little bit. I cut about a foot here. So this is about 1 foot. Into your embroidery needle. We are trying to find the center. So, and I want his face to be probably like around here. So I think that the best spot to put it would be here and come out here. Okay. We're going to double back, but we're just gonna go under the string, but come back out the top hole again. Pull it tight. And there is his beak. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little pull. This is gonna go in through one more time into the bottom, and we're gonna come out the very back. Because we want his little beak to be pronounced. With the front piece, we are gonna just repeat that step and have our needle meet up in this hole. Oop. That way we can tie it off like we did the feet. So now he has a little beak. Alrighty, so there's his feet and his beak. Now we're gonna switch to black. And with his face, you can put it anywhere. If you want his face to be lower, that's fine. If you want his face to be higher, you just want the beak to be fairly centered with the feet. We're going to string it onto our embroidery needle. And I like to start in from the side, and I'm aiming to come out right about here. Okay, so can you see where I've come out? And then I double back, and I'm gonna go and insert my hook 1 stitch away, angled to then hit right here, which would be the symmetrical version of this stitch right here. So we're gonna go to here, because I want his eyes to be fairly dainty. And so there's we're going to insert it here. And we're going to come back out in this side hole. And there's his other little eye. I'm going to kind of tighten this eye up a little bit so that they're more even, because he's a grumpy little chick. And you do not have to embroider the eyes. You could 100% use safety eyes and just insert them before you close off the project, but I do not love safety eyes. I prefer embroidered because they're safer, in my opinion, for any age group. I'm just gonna tuck this in. Okay, and you have just made a chubby, grumpy chick. I am not going to write a pattern for the face per se because it's so simple and I want you to be able to customize it how you like. Everything else though is completely patternable and something that you can follow along. I hope you enjoyed making the grumpy chubby chick. I think they're very sweet. They make great little fidget toys for children. I gave one of these to my nephew right before a college graduation that ended up being like an hour and a half long, and he loved it. So I hope you enjoyed making this, and hopefully you come back and watch any more of my future tutorials.